You ever sit down to do something simple, reply to a message, read a page, finish one task, and somehow, 20 minutes later, you're watching a video about how octopuses escape aquariums. And the strange part is you don't even remember deciding to switch. There was no clear moment, no decision, no intention. Your brain just drifted, like it quietly stood up, walked out of the room, and left you there staring at a screen, wondering what just happened. And now you're asking yourself a frustrating question. Why is it so hard to focus on anything anymore? Because it didn't used to be like this. At some point, sitting down and focusing felt natural. Reading a page didn't feel like a battle. Starting a task didn't feel like resistance. But now even the simplest things feel like pushing your mind uphill while something keeps pulling it back down. Maybe it feels like your attention span is broken, but what's actually happening is more interesting and a lot more human. Let's start with the overstimulated brain. Think about how your day usually begins. Before you've even fully woken up, your hand reaches for your phone, and suddenly your mind is flooded. Messages, notifications, short videos, headlines, updates, opinions, faces, sounds, everything all at once. Your brain doesn't get a warm-up anymore. It gets thrown straight into intensity, and underneath all of this is dopamine, the brain's reward system. Every new piece of content gives you a tiny hit of novelty. Nothing huge, just enough to keep you scrolling, just enough to keep you going. And over time, your brain starts learning something without you realizing it. Fast stimulation equals reward. So when you try to do something slower, like reading, studying, or working, your brain doesn't recognize it as rewarding anymore. It feels flat, quiet, almost uncomfortable, and that discomfort is what sends you right back to distraction. Not because you're lazy, not because you're undisciplined, but because your brain has been trained to expect constant stimulation. And the more this cycle repeats, the more stillness starts to feel unbearable. Even moments of waiting, standing in line, sitting in silence, taking a break, start to feel like something is missing. Your hand automatically reaches for your phone before you even think about it, just to fill the gap. And over time, you stop noticing how often you do it, until silence itself starts to feel unfamiliar. And there's something even more subtle happening here that most people miss. Your tolerance for boredom is shrinking without you noticing. What used to feel like normal waiting now feels like discomfort. What used to feel like a pause now feels like urgency. So your brain keeps escaping before you even realize you're uncomfortable. But there's another layer to this, the fragmented thinker. This is the person who is always doing a lot, but rarely feels like they're actually finishing anything. Tabs open everywhere. Messages popping in. Music playing. Switching between tasks without even thinking about it. It feels productive. It feels active, but mentally, something else is happening. Every time you switch tasks, your brain doesn't fully let go of the previous one. A part of your attention stays behind. Psychologists call this attention residue, and it builds up quietly, like mental noise you can't see. So instead of one clear line of thought, your mind becomes a collection of half-finished threads. You're always starting, but never fully arriving. And that's why deep focus feels harder than it used to. Not because you lost the ability, but because you trained your brain away from continuity. The good news is this can be reversed, not by doing more, but by doing less switching, even short periods of single tasking. Just one thing, no interruptions, can begin rebuilding that lost clarity. At first, it might feel strange, almost restrictive, like something is missing, but that missing feeling is actually your brain adjusting back to depth. And if you stay with it long enough, you start noticing something subtle. Thoughts stop scattering and begin lining up again. You stop rereading the same sentence 5 times. You stop losing your place mid-task. And for a moment, focus feels almost effortless again. But then there's something deeper than distraction or multitasking, the avoidance brain. This is where focus stops being about attention and starts being about emotion. Because sometimes the task you're avoiding isn't boring. It's uncomfortable, it feels heavy, overwhelming, or it carries pressure, expectations, or fear of failure. So your brain does something clever. It protects you. It pushes you towards something easier, something safer, a quick scroll, a short video, anything that removes the discomfort of starting. And in that moment, it feels harmless, even logical. I'll do it later. I just need a break first. I'll start when I feel ready. But later keeps moving away, and the task grows heavier in your mind the longer you avoid it, which makes avoidance even more likely. And the cycle continues. So when you say, I can't focus, sometimes what you really mean is, this feels emotionally difficult to start. And the way out isn't force, it's reduction. Make the first step so small, it doesn't trigger resistance. Not finish everything, but open the document. Not solve the problem, but write one sentence. Because once you start, something shifts. The emotional weight drops, and focus becomes available again. But there's one more state people don't talk about enough: the mentally exhausted brain. This is different from distraction or avoidance. This is depletion. You've been thinking all day, processing, deciding, worrying. Even when you're not actively working, your mind is still running in the background. So when you finally sit down to focus, there's nothing left to give. No clarity, no energy, just fog. And this is where most people make things worse. They try to force it, push through, discipline harder. But focus isn't just a skill, it's also a resource. And when that resource is empty, pressure doesn't refill it. What actually helps here is recovery. Real recovery. Not more input, not more scrolling, not more stimulation, but actual mental quiet. Space where your brain isn't processing anything new. Even a few minutes of doing nothing real, no input, no noise, can reset more than an hour of passive scrolling. And in that stillness, something surprising often happens. Your thoughts start organizing themselves again without effort. Because a tired mind doesn't need more effort, it needs restoration. And here's the important part. You're not just one of these types. You move between them. Some days you're overstimulated. Some days you're scattered. Some days you're avoiding something uncomfortable. And some days you're just tired. The real shift happens when you stop saying, I can't focus, and start asking, what's actually happening right now? Because that question changes everything. It turns frustration into understanding, and understanding gives you options. So if you've been feeling like your focus is slipping, it's not because it's gone. It's because it's been pulled in different directions, by habits, by environment, by emotion, by energy. And the moment you start noticing which one is active, you begin to take it back. Not all at once, not perfectly, but enough to feel it return. Your attention was never destroyed. It was just overwhelmed, and it's still there, waiting for you to guide it back.